All right, y'all, so it's been over 600 miles with the Aventon Level 3 e-bike. And with this e-bike, besides design of it and everything, there's three specific things I love the most that stand out the most with this specific e-bike after that many miles of usage. So number one that I love a ton with this bike is the fact that it has a suspension seat post. And the reason being is not just because it's super comfortable for bumps and things like this, but really how strong and secure you feel on the bike, how comfortable it feels to be on the bike. So if you're taking fast turns or if you're going really fast, it's just one of the funnest rides I've ever had, especially as a step through, because the only other e-bikes I've tried are the Cinch 2 folding e-bike and the Ranger S 1000-watt motor folding e-bike, and those have a totally different ride. Even when it comes to the pedaling on this bike, I feel it more than any other e-bikes in a good way. Like, you feel like you're getting a workout still, even though it's an e-bike, compared to folding beach cruisers type of e-bikes. Like, those are like if you don't want to feel anything when you're pedaling, like, and you truly just want to cruise, which is totally fine. But this bike is interesting because it feels like a hybrid of the two. We're all like, man, you know, on low or even on the medium setting, because if we just look at the three settings here, you got off, eco, sport, and in turbo. Even on sport, you still feel a pretty good workout, where I usually keep it on eco or turbo depending on how much commuting I'm going to do for the day, because at the end of the day it is an e-bike, and hey, since I have it, the whole point is to not break a sweat a lot, you know. But it's weird to explain, you still feel so active on it, you know. So suspension seat post is number one. Number two thing I love the most about this e-bike is it's the first e-bike that I've ever had that had security built in. So not only does it have geotagging and cellular tracking for that geotagging, but the fact that it just has a bike lock mechanism built in for the back tire. So if I were to select this, turn it on, locks the back tire. I'll even kick it through and show you, like, it's completely locked. You know, it's not going anywhere. And then of course, I just got to press the power button one more time to unlock it, and then boom, we're back in business, and you can just go ahead and move it around, you know, and get back to riding. When you do, so in the app, one thing that's cool is you can set it to where every time you turn the bike off, you probably heard that it locks the tire, and therefore when I turn it back on, and this is actually another amazing thing about this bike, is it has a password input you can implement, but to where when you enter that password, then it unlocks the bike tire, and then you can get in and just go ahead and use it. So those two things right off the bat. But the third thing I would say, and I'll have to show a video right now showing the stopping distance actually and the power of it. All right, y'all, it's a little busy, but let's go ahead and do a brake test. So I'm gonna go about 20 miles an hour, and then there's a stop sign up there, and it's going to be perfect for the brake test anyway. So let me just go ahead and pedal now. This is on turbo mode. Obviously the gear is all the way on the highest. Dang, that was quick. I mean, that from 20 miles an hour to a full stop, that is bananas, and that's all thanks to the hydraulic brakes. So as you saw in that video, it's not just because it's hydraulic brakes and like just a fancy marketing, you know, term or something like this. I actually noticed the difference compared to disc brakes or like other brakes. I'm trying to think of, you know, more manual brakes. Gosh, I'm so stupid. I'm having a brain fart. But when I look at the hydraulic brakes compared to any other brakes I've experienced, like on the Cinch 2 or the Ranger S, like, those brakes were good, especially for an e-bike. Trying to stop a 70+ pound bike going 20 miles an hour is got to be a hard thing to engineer with bikes. But since we have the engineering, the cool thing about hydraulic brakes is how fast and strong I stop, you know, with the shortest amount of distance possible. And I've had a few scary moments with cars and even animals running in front of me where I really got to test it by accident. So those are like a couple of things I really love about it. But overall design is incredible. I get a lot of looks and people asking me about this e-bike. But if there's anything else I can mention that really stands out, besides those things I mentioned, is the lights are incredible as well. I love that it has turn signals. You know, you got the turn signals. The basket's kind of you know, covering that one. But when I look at using this e-bike for over 600 miles, would I recommend it? Absolutely. Like, it's so worth the money just for even the things I mentioned. And I don't even have like an issue to complain about. One thing to be cautious of with tires on the e-bikes is, yes, you do got to fill them up more. You got to add more air to them than normal, is what I noticed in like a Fuji bike or a regular mountain bike. So the PSI on these is anywhere between 35 and 50. If I remember right, on the tires, it's between 35 and 50. Let me actually just double check. I know it says it. I want to verify now that I'm looking at the tires. So, and I'll tell you what I really keep them at. So yeah, 30 to 50 PSI, my bad. 30 to 50. I definitely don't ride it at 30. I actually always ride it at 45. You know, that feels pretty good to me, especially since I'm on the road all the time. I don't usually do it at 50. That's just me for how the bike feels. But I am riding on the road and riding on trails a lot. There's a lot of trails around here. And I probably got to refill the tires to that proper PSI maybe like once a week. But I do a lot of bike riding. You know, I ride this thing around all day, every day, you know, all the time, to go to coffee shops, to get work done. Just around the neighborhood, to the mountains. I mean, the mountains, I live pretty close to the mountains, so there's a lot of times I ride it over there before I go on a hike, because it's just, I'm close to everything, you know. But yeah, the lights work great. The battery, that's what I was going to mention, the battery life. Okay, so as you can see, it's at 40%. But if I could give an estimate on how my experience has been, every day I probably ride about 12 to 15 miles. And it's usually on the fourth day, maybe some days if I'm doing like 20 miles a day, I have to charge this thing. So it's pretty accurate to the claim, which I can show on the website here. It's a good distance, but keep in mind, like, I'm riding on eco or the sport mode. I don't ever ride on turbo, like barely. It depends on how big of a hill I gotta go up or if I'm feeling lazy, but it's really rare. It's 90% of the time on eco. So that's just me, you know. Maybe you'll get different results on if you're riding on turbo a lot, or obviously sport mode a lot. And that's not including if you ride it at night a lot with the lights on. You know, if you have the lights on, I mean, these get plenty bright, you know. It's like they get really bright, you know, at night, and you can see them illuminated during the day. That definitely takes up a lot of juice. But the battery life has been incredible. Like, I only charge it if I see it get down to like 15%, which I should probably, for the battery life's sake, let it get down to 0, you know, but chance of that happening ain't gonna happen. But it's a great battery, you know. I love how well it does. Like, you can charge it, you know, just with the bike in. You barely even have to ever take it out. But Aventon did a fantastic job with this e-bike overall. And I always highly recommend it. Like, every time people ask me about it, I'm like, hell yeah. Like, if you're looking for an e-bike and you want a bike that is great for trails, great for the city, great for just anything, this is the bike to go to, because it's not a fat tire e-bike. I like the fat tire e-bikes, but one big flaw I noticed with fat tire e-bikes is those tires do not feel as comfortable as these slimmer tires, even though these are still pretty thick. Like, these are fantastic for the trail in my experience still, and like, they're fantastic for the road. So I've rode through all kinds of different terrain. Definitely haven't mountain biked with them. You can't mount, at least in my state, you can't mountain bike, you know, with an e-bike, you know. And I don't know why you would. Like, just get a regular e-bike or an e-bike that's designed for that, you know. But still, like, this is not a mountain biking e-bike, you know, even with the suspension posts and whatnot. So sort of my thoughts on how much, oh, before I forget, actually, how dare I not mention this? These extenders on the tires right here, these extenders for the splash guards are phenomenal. I never get wet, ever. With my other e-bikes, I get wet all the time. The length and design is just not good enough. Like, they did so good with not just giving you the extensions, but the way, like, the length, it's just so perfect. I've never gone wet where backpack splashed or water splashed on my back or on me at all. You know, maybe my feet if it's a really rainy day, obviously, but the water coming from the tires just was not hitting me at all. And I've definitely tested it in the rain plenty of times. Even when I first got this bike, there was times there was a little bit of snow and nothing would hit my back. And of course, if you're using this for like work or professionally, you know, like, I don't mean professionally being an e-bike rider or something. I don't even know if that exists. I guess it exists since I'm reviewing it. But if you're using this to get around town and like you're wearing something nice or to get to the office, that freaking matters. You know, it's like if there's water on the ground after it rained, you don't want to show up to work all wet. Like, you don't want to get all wet, period. You know, and I just came out of a workout class and it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter like if I'm already dirty or not. Like, I don't want water on me, you know. So I can't believe I almost forgot that. But this bike is designed incredibly well. If you're looking for an Aventon bike that's good for it all, this is absolutely the one to go to. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.